I used to be a science teacher in my other life. One of the guys I met was Roy G. Biv when we were on the lens and optics unit. Okay, this isn't a guy exactly, but is an acronym to remember the colors of the rainbow. In this video, I'm going to use the conical gradient to make a Roy G. Biv color wheel. First, I'm going to open a new document. Now, in my case, when I open the Affinity program, it automatically opens because I've never bothered to uncheck the Show on Startup. I think I'm going to keep it that way, but if you have yours unchecked, then remember all you have to do is to go to File, New, and New Document, and you'll be on the screen the same as I am. Okay, first of all, we want to get rid of the margins. We don't need those, so we'll go to Margins and unclick Include Margins. And then we want to go over here to Color because we want our background to be transparent and not white. So we'll check Transparent Background and then click Create. So now we have our transparent background. Now I need to draw an ellipse. So I'm going to go over here and choose the ellipse tool. And then I'm going to mouse over until I find this intersection of red and green. And that is the point where I'm going to be centering my ellipse. Then I'm going to press Control-Shift and just press my mouse and pull out. And I've got myself a perfect circle. Believe it or not, I just learned this. Remember before, if you've seen my last videos, I was just drawing the ellipse and then resizing it and trying to get as close to an ellipse as I can and move it around and all that stuff. I had no idea that there were key shortcuts to do this, and that saved a lot of time. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to Fill and then go to Swatches and then click Red to fill the circle with red. The reason I'm doing this is we're going to do our Roy G. Biv color wheel, and if you remember from your science, the Roy G. Biv is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, most people don't know what that is, and violet. That's an old-timey term. So that's Mr. Roy G. Biv. So we're going to start with red and do that. Then once we get red, we're going to make sure that our ellipse is selected. And I find myself repeating myself on that a lot because a lot of times I forget to select the layer and then it doesn't do anything, and then I kind of wonder why. So then we're going to do is we're going to select the gradient tool. When we select the gradient tool, the tool we want is Conical, which is right here. So now we have our conical gradient tool, and all we have to do is finish up. So the first thing we need to do is to click on this color rectangle, and then notice that we have our gradient rectangle opened up with conical, position, color, and all that. The first color on our Roy G. Biv is red, so it's already selected. So the next thing we need to do is to go up here and click and get another node. And for that node, we want our position to be 15%. And like magic it is, I swear I didn't plan that, but it's about 50%. So that next node is going to be orange. So we're going to click the color and we're going to find an orange and adjust it around until we get the kind of orange that we want. So you'll be probably adjusting this. Okay, so there's an orange. Now, don't freak out if it doesn't look exactly the way you want it. You could always adjust it at the end by moving the nodes around. Now, the next thing we're going to do is put down another node right there, And our next node is going to be 30%. Notice that with the position percentages, I'm adding 15% to every position until we move all the way down the gradient and get to the very last node. So that's the object of this. So we have part of our ROI, we have our red and orange. So our next color is going to be yellow. So we'll try to find a yellow that we like and move the sliders around. It depends on how picky you want to be about this. My goal is just to show you how to do this, and then at the end we can figure that out. Okay, so now we have Roy here, and we need the G. Well, guess what color that is? That is going to be green. And so the next position, we'll just click on this node. Since it's already here, we'll click on this node, and that will activate it. Remember, when the node gets big, that means it's activated. So for that one, we'll need that to be 45%. And our node moves to 45%. And then we click on that, and we want a green. So we have green here, and we can move our sliders around until we get the green that we want. Okay, now all we need to do is to finish the BIV part. Well, BIV, the first letter, is blue, so we're going to need blue, and the position for our node, first of all, let's click the node on to where we've got one, and our position is going to be 60%. That says 61. I'm just going to leave it there. It doesn't really have to be exact, so I'll leave it there, and then we'll need to find our blue, so I'll click in the blue, and then adjust the sliders until I get the blue I want. And there's your blue. The next color is indigo, which hardly anyone ever uses anymore. It's kind of a bluish violet color. And so for the percent, well, we better put this here. So we're going to get another node right here. And then we're going to have that be, 75%. Who knew? Okay, so we're going to click the color and try to find our indigo, which is probably going to be around here. And so there's our indigo, and then our last color is going to be violet. So we will, we will put another node down here somewhere. Come on. And this is going to be violet. So we can click on the violet and get the violet the way we want. And so there's our color wheel. Now all we have to do is to adjust the nodes around. So I'm going to move this node over a little bit, and see how our colors adjust when we move the nodes around, and it will also adjust when we move the sliders around. So that's all you have to do to spice up your color wheel. Let's see what happens if I do this. Okay. Now one thing you're going to notice is that the colors are supposed to run in from one to another, and that's why you had to have. We started off with red first because it's the first letter in Roy G. Biv's name, but we also end with red. And that's because if we ended with violet, what would happen is this thing right here, if I take it off, is going to be a line. And we don't want a line there. We want the color wheel to go around and have a perfect melding from one color to another. Okay, so as I said, you can make any adjustments that you need to make by moving the nodes around. Keep in mind that the order of the nodes are the order of the colors, from red all the way down to violet, and starts with red again. So notice that it does that. So here's our Roy G. Biv all the way around. Now, once you get to where you want it, and you want to adjust this, all you have to do is to click off of it, And there you are. You've got your own color wheel. Now, after doing this, I honestly don't know where you would make use of this unless you are a science teacher or a student like studying optics and prisms or an art student. But this is the only thing I could think of to show you an example of the conical gradient that we mentioned in my last video. But now you should know how to set up your conical gradient, as well as understanding what determines the order of the colors. I hope that you found something you can use in this tutorial. As for me, I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. My channel isn't very old, maybe a little over a year. So please help me out by pressing that subscribe button.